There's many reasons to be an angel investor. It's fun, you get to meet great businesses, you can certainly add value as an advisor to that business, you can bring expertise, but most importantly as well, that it is tax efficient. We need to grow that board table and actually make sure we've got different personalities in there, different characteristics, different levels of diversity, so to speak. They actually generate more revenue, they grow their businesses more quickly, and they are more likely to exit. What is core to Lifted Ventures? We've developed a flywheel, which is what we deliver in order to increase the flow of capital into female founders.
This is the Leeds Business Podcast, and I'm your host, Phil Fraser. This week, we speak to Jordan Dargue, co-founder of Lifted Ventures. Jordan shares with us her journey into angel investing, developing the early stage investing community in Leeds and the North, and now building Lifted Ventures and its flywheel that supports both female founders and female investors. Plus, we find out how we as men can be male allies to this vital area of business development. This week's Business Surgery answers the question, what are the key things that I should put in an angel investment pitch deck? Before we start, I have one simple request. Please hit the follow or subscribe button on the app that you're listening on. That's it. Thank you. So let's get into what is a really educational episode. On today's episode of the Leeds Business Podcast, I'm delighted to have as my guest Jordan Dargue, co-founder of Lifted Ventures. Hi, Jordan.
Good afternoon, Phil. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on. Now, today's podcast is brought to you in association with Leeds-based YFM Equity Partners. And Jordan and I were talking beforehand. You've come across YFM before, haven't you?
I have, yes, and I've been delighted to be able to do some work with Laura Wiggins, who's the investment director at YFM. Great stuff.
So we got a thumbs up from a guest on that, but also YFM also backed Pan Intelligence, whose co-founder Zandra Moore was my guest back on episode 23, where one of the things she discussed was her experience in finding YFM as their equity partners. To give you a little bit of information about YFM, they offer investments from £2 to £15 million, specifically to fast-growing businesses, as well as providing the resources and expertise needed to take your business to the next level. So if you're an entrepreneur with a vision for growth, whether you're expanding your market or scaling operations, YFM Equity Partners can help you turn your ambitions for your business into reality. So if you're looking to partner with them, you can find out more at yfmep.com. Now, that address is also at the top of the show notes. And when you do contact YFM, make sure you tell them that Phil from Leeds Business Podcast sent you. So that's YFM. Jordan, let's go all the way back to you working at Leighton Group. How did it all start and where did that take you?
Yeah, Phil. So my career started off in construction, and essentially the recession hit whilst I was working in the construction sector, and that was where I landed myself into the technology sector. Was able to transition my skills from construction, so marketing and commercialization, and landed an amazing role with the Leighton Group, where I was their head of culture, head of people, but also worked actively within their account management team. Was part of their senior leadership team within the Leighton Group, and that really was a pioneering role for me to really understand businesses from a stage in development. So we worked with big clients such as British Airways, Home Group here in the Northeast, to help them develop their software products. But we also worked with some very early stage businesses who were developing proof of concept products. And that was where I really got to understand the financial element to these businesses who were wanting to develop product to be able to establish a business or indeed scale their business or grow their business. That role took me into the world of entrepreneurship. I found a real niche in the market, working with organizations to help them develop their recruitment strategies. But also their people plans and essentially their commercialization strategy as well. And that was where Dargue Associates was built. I was very lucky to be able to do some project work for a venture capital firm, Growth Capital Ventures. And at that stage, I was invited into that organisation as their operations director, which is where I learned everything possible about venture capital, around angel investment, and certainly how to support early stage businesses to access investment. At that point, I did meet Helen Oldham. Helen and I met back in 2017. We were both at an event together in London. We were the only women at that event in London that was centralised around investment. And we were certainly the only two people within the room talking about women in investment as well. And as you can imagine, Helen and I gravitated towards each other. And I guess the rest is history in terms of the fact that we've now been working together for over 7 years. We were the co-leaders of NorthInvest, which is a Leeds-based angel network. We developed the Fund Her North initiative between ourselves and also the Women Angels of the North initiative as well. And that's then landed us now into Lifted Ventures. The reason why I've gone through all of those different roles is there's a common theme in terms of I've always operated in, I guess, male-dominated sectors and industries. And that was really where I've sort of built my passion for wanting to encourage more women into those industries, into those sectors. And it's resulted essentially in my passion around wanting to support female founders and female entrepreneurs and obviously women angel investors as well. Because I see the real benefit of having diverse workforces, diverse boards, and certainly a diverse environment, sector and industry led as well.
Right. Okay. I mean, you've covered it. You've covered a huge amount there, and I can see why you've done it. Let's just take a step back. So, you were in recruitment, you were in construction, both very, very male orientated. And then was it the entrepreneurship that sort of made you aware of so I say made you aware, but you know what I mean, made you aware of women in business, or was that something that was always in the back of your mind?
I would say that was what really made me aware. I think right at that first role in construction, I was one of 3 women working in that organisation. And, every time, I was within their marketing team and essentially we would attend dinners, we'd attend events, we'd attend conferences, and there was a real lack of women working within that construction sector. And it became very apparent to me when we would look at the different jobs, the different career paths for women in construction, because I knew that I didn't have a career path in construction because my path was either marketing or administration. And actually, that was why I stepped out of the construction industry. And I think that was the focal point for me to think around actually, how can we increase more the visibility for women, and how can we create diverse opportunities and balanced opportunities for more women to be within those organisations. And I guess I stepped out of construction, which is, heavy male dominated, but actually then went into technology. And again, the majority of the roles within that technology business were being deployed by men. And the central service team were women. And actually, at that point where I went into that organisation, I developed a project which the leadership team of the Leighton Group were massively supportive of, where I went into universities and colleges and spoke about women entering the tech industry and specifically how they could be supported in the Leighton Group. So we did a lot of work with the colleges and universities in the Northeast to encourage more women to come forward into development roles, into data analyst roles, testing roles, designer roles. And that really then grew that there was an opportunity that I could see, but also a lot to be done in terms of lobbying and campaigning and showcasing the need that diversity within an organisation is key to its success. And I do believe at the point where I left the Leighton Group, I'm sure around about 30% of their employment, their workforce were women.
That's great. That's great. And talking about it now, the fact that somebody's career opportunities or career path should be determined by gender is just it's a nonsensical concept when you say it out loud, isn't it?
It is absolutely. And I guess, I also keep going back, Phil, as well, to obviously when I was at school and when I was at doing my A levels at sixth form, the roles that were always pointed out to me were never the roles of a quantity surveyor, for example, or indeed a tech developer. It was always roles that were more aligned to the skills of a woman: marketing, sales, administration, and so on. And I think there has been a real turning point over the years where actually women are amazing developers. I mean, let's go back to Xandra, for example, here, Phil. You know, she still sits and develops now, and we know that through the Lifted project. We know, obviously, that there's women in construction. I now look back at the organisations that I work with in the construction industry. They've got women who are the chief executives in those organisations now as well. And I think it is that changing of the times. And I do think that the investment sector is lagging, which is why, again, you know, that golden thread of me wanting to support women in those industries comes all the way through my career. We're starting to see it change in the investment landscape now, but there's an awful lot more to be done.
Yeah. It's interesting. What's the lady's name? Michaela, I think it's Michaela Wayne, who was on The Apprentice a few years ago, has set up Women in Construction in awards. It's a big event now, so that things are changing. So talk to us about NorthInvest, because that's obviously relevant to our audience and where we are. How did that come about, and what were the aims of what it was aiming to do?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Phil, Helen and I met back in the 2017, and at a point where I was looking to further develop my career in other directions, I approached Helen and said, you know, I'd be looking to potentially look at all, you know, other opportunities, of which Helen sort of grasped me and said, please do come into NorthInvest and let's work together. So landed within NorthInvest. I brought with me quite a lot of the investment experience to that organisation, and worked really alongside Helen as a core leader to really grow out the angel network, to really develop the investment process as well, so that we started to see the ability to do more deals. We took that angel network up to 200 members. We grew year on year the number of deals which we were doing. We were growing the value of opportunities as well. We built a vast member co-investor network, which we were able to obviously leverage additional finance from. But in addition to that, we were also an Innovate UK regional angel investment accelerator partner. And that really helped us, Phil, to leverage grant investment alongside angel investment. And that was a key catalyst for us to start to think about how do we actually develop homegrown angel investors, because we know that the northern regions, specifically, Phil, we've got, you know, a smaller proportion of angel investors in the northern regions. And also even smaller proportion of active angel investors in the regions. So we knew that we needed to start and think about and do other things that would actually raise the profile of angel investing, educate more people to become angel investors, but also showcase that you do not need to be a high net worth individual to start investing. You can learn how to angel invest. You can actually learn from peers and actually find out some of the fun reasons to be part of an angel network. You know, you get to meet some amazing founders, some really innovative products, but work and be a part of a community of like-minded people who are keen on supporting that next wave and generation of businesses coming forward. It was obviously, we grew out an amazing team at NorthInvest. And as I say, we really put Leeds on the map in terms of, you know, angel investment, and particularly the Northern Powerhouse regions as well.
You're absolutely right. And you've mentioned Helen a couple of times. Obviously, she's been a guest on the show. There will be a link to Helen's episode in the show notes, and Xandra's, you've already mentioned. Just go back to something you just said there. Anybody can be an angel investor. Let's just talk about that, because obviously people think, you know, Dragon's Den, you've got to have, you know, pots and pots of money and, you know, all that sort of thing. Can anybody be an angel investor? And if so, how?
Absolutely, Phil. Absolutely. So, as an example, Phil, I am an angel investor myself, and I actually started angel investing when I was working with Growth Capital Ventures. My first investment was £500 into an organisation. And it was a way for me to actually learn about investing and angel investment. For me, every pound that goes into a founder is greatly received by that founder because that pound can go a long way. You don't have to be a high net worth individual. We have people within our investor networks who invest as little as £2,000 into an opportunity, up to whatever amount they want to invest. And essentially, the best way to obviously learn about angel investing is angel education programs. So within Lifted Ventures, we've developed angel education programs, and there's a big module which is around distilling some of those myths and understanding that, there's many reasons to be an angel investor. It's fun. You get to meet great businesses. You can certainly add value as an advisor to that business. You can bring expertise, but most importantly as well, that it is tax efficient. So you can actually invest and actually get tax efficient to obviously support tax efficient investment opportunities and actually get a return in terms of a HMRC claim back to you for investing into early stage businesses. And that's called the Enterprise Investment Scheme.
Right. Okay. Anybody who wants to get involved in angel investing, I think we have to do it legally, or probably just best case, we should remind people that investments can go up as well as down. And I've found that. I'm sure you have, Jordan, as well. And any angel investor who tells you all of their investments have been a success is a liar.
Yeah. Yeah. It is high risk, high reward, Phil, without doubt.
Yeah. But I think the point you mentioned there as well is, a pound you put into a startup is so supportive to that startup that they can, it takes them, another level up, they can develop further. And, there are, I agree with you. I think that there are more benefits to angel investment than just, how much money do I get back? It's, it's educational, it's interesting, it's fascinating, you meet great people, and you can learn stuff yourself that you can then, utilize in your own business. And you get to see lots of different business models and different ways people slice things, and you hear different people's versions of things. It really is a great ecosystem to be part of. So out of NorthInvest, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say on that, Phil, as well, the best people who are angel investors is those who've actually, operating at a leadership management level, who have sector knowledge, has specific industry sector experience, have networks, because an angel investor isn't just about the capital part, as you mentioned. Actually, a typical business angel investor is also somebody who can bring additional skills, expertise, and support to that business. And particularly the investments that I've personally done over the years, I would say over half of those have actually really wanted me to be an angel investor, so that I can utilize my expertise and can open up my networks to those people. So they're really, really valuable things. And that's what we really need to support the entrepreneurs and support founders in growing their businesses.
Yeah. It's the old phrase of it's grey hair money. It's the money is valuable, but the knowledge and, like you say, the little black books and the networks is even more valuable. So within NorthInvest, you then launched Fund Her North, which obviously is sort of the foundation or the start point of Lifted. So how did Fund Her North come about, and why did you do it?
Yeah, so within NorthInvest, we were seeing, a huge amount of deal flow and pipeline, early stage businesses looking to raise investment, but there was a significantly less proportion of those businesses who were actually founded or co-led by female founders. I think there was around about 4% when we first started to really push on the female founder front. It felt very much that also we needed not just to promote within the NorthInvest brand, we want more female founders to be applying. It felt like we also needed to campaign and lobby the need to actually have more women involved from the investment sector and industry to support on that mission to actually help increase deal flow and also make female founders more visible and want to come forward for investment, purely because we can see more female founders being backed by VCs. So Fund Her North was effectively launched as a way of bringing community together. So investment managers, investment directors together as part of a community to look at how we can grow and develop the pipeline of female founders looking to raise equity-based investment and venture capital investment as well. It really did help because being more visible in the landscape and showcasing that there is a real support mechanism to support female founders was a real turning point for how Fund Her North was developed. Essentially, on the back of Fund Her North, we launched the Women Angels of the North Syndicate, which essentially was a women angel only investor network. Because we know, and there is research out there that shows women do back women, we not only had to grow through Fund Her North, female founder pipeline and opportunities, but we also needed to grow investors and investor networks that wanted to back female founders as well. So that was why we launched the Women Angels of the North Syndicate. And that was the first of its kind in the north of England. And also it was a catalyst for a number of other Women Angel networks that grew. And essentially, Fund Her North grew in terms of being able to provide additional support and services. So we had a big emphasis within Fund Her North around doing coaching for investor readiness. So we would do coaching, we'd profile events, we would talk and shout about obviously why it's important to have more women in VCs to make it more visible for female founders to feel at ease to go for investment. And then that coupled with the Women Angel network as well, where we were actually, let's say, put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, by saying we've got the great pipeline here of opportunities to back. We've now got this amazing Women Angel network. Let's bring the two together. So that was where we were running NorthInvest, which was obviously the entity for all early stage founders to apply. We had a mixed gender network within NorthInvest, and then alongside, to give it a real focal point, was Fund Her North, which was specifically for female founders, and then Women Angels of the North, which was specifically for women angels. It was a really, really powerful platform and tool, bringing that together to close rounds. What we found was we'd initiate a deal in Fund Her North, which was a female founder opportunity. We'd get the support and backing from the Women Angel network, and then have that opportunity pitch within NorthInvest and actually be able to bring in great male investors and male allies to co-invest into that opportunity as well.
Brilliant. And it's a phrase you used there, and as a male allies. How can we as males work to support this sort of ecosystem that you're building?
That's a great question, Phil. Absolutely. Male allies are super important. When we talk about diversity, we don't mean, we want women to rule the world or we want all women around that board desk. What we actually mean is we need to grow that board table and actually make sure we've got different personalities in there, different characteristics, different levels of diversity, so to speak. And actually within the male allies category, I guess, men just being understanding of how a female founder operates and the characteristics of a female founder in comparison to perhaps a male founder, I think is a real key starting point. We know with any founder, they all have different skills and expertise and things that they're great at and things that they're not so great at. And I think from a male ally perspective, particularly some of the men I've worked alongside when we've been supporting a female founder, they've really got to know that female founder and really understand what that founder's really good at, where they're wanting to take their business, but also let that female really continue to lead on taking that business where it needs to go with some really supportive advice and guidance. So I guess just appreciating the difference between a female founder and a male founder. You'll probably find that a female founder is more risk averse, for example. They will want to understand a lot more about the risks for their business. They'll want to understand the market in absolute details. But what we do know, Phil, that women who actually are able to access investment and support from amazing male allies like yourself, Phil, are actually those who actually go on to succeed on a greater term. They actually generate more revenue, they grow their businesses more quickly, and they are more likely to exit. And we need more male allies to be helping these female founders, and we certainly need more male allies to be backing and investing into female founders as well.
Okay. Yep, I'll do that. Don't worry. And you know, one of the reasons I'm quite passionate about this, I'm the father of two girls, and I don't think anything should be in their way. But I interviewed Jane Slimming, who you know from Zeal, and she said something which really hit me, which was, she said, I was always taught I could be anything I want. And all women should be in that position, whether it's, we talk about startups or anything. And this is why, one of the reasons I want to give you this platform to do this is to be able to get that message out there. Before we continue, we're going to do this week's business surgery. So anybody who's been listening recently will know I'm asking our listeners and viewers to send in their business problems, which I and then the guest will give a potential solution to. I'll give my answer first. Gives Jordan some time to think about stuff. And today's question actually is very, very relevant. It's from a lady by the name of Alexa Frost, so tick for the female. What are the key things I should put in an angel investment pitch or pitch deck? Now, that's obviously a huge question, but we're going to do this really, really top line. So my answer, and I get asked this quite a lot. So my answer is to answer the following questions, because I'm an angel investor. This is what I want to know. So what's the pain point that you solve? How do you solve it? Will people pay for it? Will people repeatedly pay for it? Why should they use your solution to the pain point rather than the existing solution they have to the pain point? Who's going to deliver it? So who's your team? And then finally, how much money do you want, and what does an exit look like? This is my pretty top level. What's in a pitch deck? I've probably covered everything you're going to say, Jordan. But what would you say? What would you say, or what would you add?
Yeah, so 100% agree with all of those points. Absolutely, Phil. In addition to that, I would really want to understand their financial projections. I want to really understand exactly what the business has done so far in terms of what the financials look like, and appreciate that not all these opportunities will be, revenue generating. So I'd want to understand their financial projections in terms of what does it look like in terms of growth. The other things that I really like to understand as well is I want to understand the story behind the business, because I think that also brings into why they've brought this forward. What was the real problem? The thing that you've mentioned right at the beginning of that as well, Phil. And also, I guess, not only the team who's doing this, but the support you've got around you as a business as well. So that could be partnerships, that could be your advisory board, but also how the money is going to be spent and what the future funding strategy looks like as well. Because if I'm an angel investor, I'm typically going to be investing in the very early stages of a business. So I'm going to want to know how much more money you're going to need over the life cycle of this business, or a review of that, to know if I'm going to have to invest again and how much I'm probably going to have to invest again to keep my shareholding.
Very good. And the other thing, and I think you've alluded to it more than I have, an angel investor looks at the person. So all those could all be ticks. You look at the person and go, the one thing that's guaranteed is the shit's going to hit the fan at some point during this journey. Can this person deal with that? Are they the right person? Are they the best front man, front woman to lead the battle and bang the drum? And it's very much about the person as well. I've seen pitches where I think, well, that's quite a good idea, but look at the person and think, not sure you could either deliver what you're promising, or just you're the right sort of person.
I would say, if I'm being really honest, Phil, I 100% agree with you. I'm thinking about some of the opportunities that I've invested in. And there's a very well-known female founder from Leeds who I have invested in. I invested in her 3 times in her business. And I did invest her. I loved what she was doing. Okay, I saw the real opportunity for her business in the market, but it was that founder that led me to want to invest. I developed a really good relationship with her, and I got to really understand her real strengths, the things that she was great at. But I also got to learn a lot about her, I guess. I don't want to call them weaknesses because they're not weaknesses, but I guess things that she wasn't so good at, or indeed the things that were her worrying factors. That made me want to invest more in her because I got to see this true person, and I'd back that person 100 times over again and again and again. Okay. But I also have invested in opportunities where I guess the team have been absolutely phenomenal. And I know that it's a real, I guess, market opportunity. But I will also take a risk in backing a business that I'm not 100% aware of the market as well. So that's where I will lean on other people in my networks to invest alongside me, to say, I know this industry, I know this sector, and I know that this is a really good opportunity. So for me, the power of actually working with other angel investors and being a part of a network is super important, particularly if it's not just that founder that you know and investing in, it's actually a sector or industry that you're not 100% sure in, but this looks like a really good opportunity.
Yep. Totally agree with that. So, Alexa, I hope that answers your question. So, if anybody else has got their business problem they want me and a future guest to solve, just drop me an email at phil@leedsbusinesspodcast.com, and hopefully you'll get a shout out and you'll get your problem solved very, very soon. Now, before we carry on, I need to speak to our listeners and viewers about the Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal. The Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal has 2 sides to it. My side of the deal, I bring you inspirational, motivational, and fascinating business leaders like Jordan every week, free of charge. Your side of the deal has 2 parts to it. Part number 1, recommend this podcast to one other person you feel will get benefit from it. Part number 2, and listeners and viewers, you've not been doing this, so I'm stressing this one. I need you to write a review on the Apple Podcast app or at podchaser.com. So that's the Leeds Business Podcast Fair Deal. Sound like a fair deal, Jordan?
It absolutely does.
There you go. Jordan says it's a fair deal. So we've talked about NorthInvest. We've talked about Fund Her North. Talk to me about the step from there to where you are now at Lifted Ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So Helen and I launched Lifted Ventures back in September last year. We really wanted to portray the messaging around, obviously, we often hear far too often about this, only 2% of capital goes into female founders. It has become like wallpaper. We know that statistic, and it's been very difficult to move. So we really set up Lifted Ventures to promote and to showcase that actually it makes absolutely business sense to be supporting female founders. Despite receiving less capital than male founders, female founder-led businesses grow twice as quick and indeed are more likely to exit, as I mentioned earlier. And that was really the messaging that we brought to life with Lifted Ventures. So we exist basically to increase the flow of early stage capital and funding into female founder-led businesses. We operate right across the UK, but outside of London and the Southeast. And that's purely because we want to really support regional development and the female founders across the regions. We're a sector agnostic business, so we'll work with female founders across all sectors and industries. But really what is core to Lifted Ventures, we've developed a flywheel, which is what we deliver in order to increase the flow of capital into female founders. So at the core of that, we've got our angel networks. We've got a mixed gender angel network, and we've got a female women only angel network as well. We've built and developed a real big co-investor network, and we work hand in hand with those VCs and co-investors to really work with them to help obviously create more deal flow pipeline, but also help them to navigate and to obviously inform how we should be supporting more diverse founders, but also how we can obviously increase visibility for more females to actually step into that landscape and become investment managers and investment directors, and indeed grow women within the investment committee teams as well. In addition to that, we also run education and accelerator programs. So we have developed and deliver access to finance education programs for founders, for early stage founders, with bespoke education for female founders. And we've also developed angel investor education for angel investors who are potentially wanting to get involved in angel investing, or indeed are angel investing and wanting to grow their knowledge as well. So what we're doing is building the knowledge and understanding around investment, both on the founder side and on the investor side. Really, really keen, in addition to supporting female founders, is supporting diverse founders. So we have created 2 blueprints, one on disability and one on ADHD. And it's centralized around how we as investors should be supporting founders, thinking about the key characteristics of those founders, why they are great as entrepreneurs and why we should be backing them and support them, and how we support them as well. And then in addition to that, we also run consultancy projects with public and private sector organisations, Phil, to help either build out angel capacity or build out initiatives to support early stage investment. And one of those initiatives is the Lifted Project, which Helen and myself are working alongside Zandra with, where we've developed 5 regional city boards utilising data analytics to enhance early investment into high growth female founders in those 5 cities. So essentially, Phil, we're really on a mission to make the north of the UK the gender smart investment landscape, to make us the investment capital of the UK and beyond, essentially, and using all of the different parts of our flywheel to do that.
I love that idea of the flywheel, because you're by bringing in opportunities and bringing in investors and educating and putting the whole thing together, I can see why that's a flywheel, rather than just here's a monthly pitch from a few women and here's some angel investors on the side. It really is great. There will be links in the notes, but just give us a shout out where people can find out more information.
Certainly, they can head over to www.liftedventures.co.uk. Okay.
Now, this episode will be going out, hopefully, if I get my timings right, this episode will probably be going out, I think, on Wednesday, the 11th of September. And the reason I wanted to get it out on that date was it's 2 weeks ahead of the first Lifted Ventures conference in Harrogate. So there's still time to get tickets. Tell us all about the conference and what people can expect there.
Absolutely. So in Harrogate on the 26th of September, we are launching our first Women Angel Investor Conference. It's basically going to be the biggest conference for women angel investing and investors outside of London. So basically, as I mentioned before, we're really dedicated to supporting, women-led businesses and providing critical funding and mentorship. But what we really need to do is grow the pool of diverse angel investors in doing so. So this conference is a real catalyst for how we grow those communities. It is taking place in Harrogate, but it is open and accessible to anybody in the UK who wants to come along, find out more about angel investing, really understand, obviously, the gender investment gap and how we can promote more financial independence amongst women, and also how we can essentially come together to prioritise supporting female founders and empower more women to essentially embrace angel investing. We are being supported within this event by Brewin Dolphin. They're our partner in this event alongside the British Business Bank. And we're coming together with a real big agenda, looking at essentially as well, Phil, how, more women in leadership roles, more women in professional services, more women who are operating in managerial, different sectors and industries can get involved. So going back to distilling some of those myths that we spoke about earlier, all the way through to making the most of your wealth. We've also got lightning pitches from some of the female founders that we've supported. So actually showcasing how they've taken on investment and actually why it was important for them to have women angel investors on their cap table, but also showcasing how their angel investment that they've received has helped that business on that growth journey as well. So it's a jam-packed day. Really excited. We've got a huge amount of people already signed up to attend. And we were also within that event as well, Phil, have got an amazing Male Allies panel. So going back to our Male Allies panel that we were talking about earlier, we've invited some of the men within our network to come on within a panel and talk around why they're backing women and the differences and, you know, why they're passionate about ensuring that more investment does go into female founders as well. So that's going to be really exciting.
Okay, I will be there. I've already signed up. Where can we get tickets from?
I think you need to come on our Male Allies panel, Phil.
Well, you've not invited me.
There's your invite. I'm going to email you straight after that.
Oh shit! I've talked myself into that, haven't I?
You might get an email straight after this. Actually, yes, definitely.
Yeah, that bit's going to be edited. That bit's going to be edited out, so I don't have to do it.
Where can you find out more about this? So again, head over to the Lifted Ventures website, and if you go into the news and events section, there is a link to find out more about that event, along with an Eventbrite sign up.
Right. Okay. And I might be on that panel. I don't know. Now, every week on the Leeds Business Podcast, we ask our guests to give us a how-to. Now, you won't be surprised that this is to do with angel investing, but Jordan, tell us what your how-to is going to be and tell us how to do it.
Absolutely. So it is how to truly become investor ready. Okay. So we've talked about some of the key areas which an angel investor would want to see in a pitch deck. But some of the thing, it's not just about having a pitch deck ready, makes you truly investor ready. It's about all of the other information that goes around it. So the first thing really is thinking about an ambitious plan. Okay. As we know, there's a greater demand for investment than what there is supply. And in order for your business or opportunity to stand out, it must have a really compelling, ambitious business plan associated to it. At the end of the day, Phil, we've already discussed, haven't we, how investors are wanting a return on their investment. So it's thinking about, okay, how do we grow that business? How do we scale that business? What's the opportunity? And actually, what do we want that end result to be? So it's looking again and reanalyzing what the vision for that business really is, but also being able to really highlight the compelling story around it and around the plan, essentially. Okay. So in addition to me seeing a pitch deck, I want to understand the plan of that business and the ambition to scale the business. Okay. The next thing is to really understand your market and your customer. And Phil, you mentioned obviously that part within the pitch deck. So to really get investor ready, you've got to have done market analysis. You've got to have statistics. You've got to really understand in depth the market that you're trying to serve and how you're going to serve them as well. And then the what part is, what are you serving and what does the customer want and how much are they going to pay for it, essentially. So we often say, in addition to obviously the pitch deck, we ask for a data room, and that type of information goes into that data room so we can see the research has been constructed around that market and around that customer opportunity as well. Within there as well, be really sure of who your customer personas are, because you want to understand exactly how they're going to buy, why they're going to buy, and the way that they will buy as well, because that will really help you forecast. I mentioned in the response, obviously, the financials. Now, financials isn't just about showcasing exactly what the business has achieved financially or where they are in terms of a cash position or indeed a balance sheet and cash flow forecast. But a real good financial forecast and plan is a real strategic enabler. Now, us within ourselves within investment firms, we can look at a financial projection plan and actually see the strategic direction of that business. We can see how much ambition is going into that plan, but also the one thing that we've got to be really careful of is making sure we get that balance between realistic projections and not being too ambitious, because again, if we see something that's too ambitious from a financial value perspective, it can make it look a little bit unrealistic as well. The other thing to help you get prepared, and this again outside of the pitch deck, is to understand what the value is of your business for the investor. So what I mean by that is actually, is the value of your business the team, as we were talking about, Phil, or indeed is it the product, is it the IP? So again, being truly investor ready, okay, what part of the business is the true value of a business that an investor wants to buy? Because if we can really showcase and understand within our investment plan and our investment pitch deck and memorandum what the true value of the business is, we know that what the investor's buying. So that's where that scalability plan has to be associated to the value, okay? The other real part of being investor ready as well is understanding the legal foundations of a business. So really understanding that your business is set up adequately to be able to take on external capital, but also understanding the legal process that you would go through as an investor, as taking on investment in your business from an investor, the legal process that you go through. And again, I would always recommend that you get legal advice ahead of going out to raise investment, just because once you've got the investors in place, knowing and being, I guess, aware of what the investor may be looking for. Some of the softer things is prepare the documents well, make sure they look great, okay? Make sure they're well presented, make sure they're kept right up to date. And finally, the final part that I always say as well is valuation. Now, that is a really, really hard, a really hard part of becoming investor ready, is knowing how to set the valuation of your business, okay? It gets easier as you get larger. So that first valuation that you're going to set, take real guidance, speak to the experts in terms of that valuation, but also do your research, understand what your competitors are doing, understand how much money is being raised by those competitors, where their valuations were, but also then financial projections should really help you have an understanding of what your valuation should be. And the other thing is to start to prepare early, Phil. One of the things that we often see is businesses coming towards us who actually need investment now. They've run out of runway, they've run out of cash, they need investment now. We know that it can take at least 6 months to actively go out and raise investment, okay? So just to recap, get really clear on your needs, get really clear on the vision of your business, make sure that you're going out with a compelling, ambitious business plan, okay? Speak to your networks, okay? Leverage your networks to find investors, okay? Really understand who the investors are who are backing your type of business, i.e. what stage of business. Is it equity? Is it debt, for example? Other sector and industry investors out there, but also really, really understand, and quantify the investor yourself. This is a two-way relationship, okay? Not every investor is going to be right for each organization. So really qualify that investor and know that they are going to be the right investor for you, but also really just ensure that you've got the time and commitment, because it is 100% commitment when you're going out to raise investment. But I can guarantee once you secure investment, you will have grown an awful lot of resilience through that process, but you will also have a fantastic business plan in place and an opportunity to really scale it as well.
Now that is a brilliant information, facts and advice filled how-to. I mean, we could do another whole podcast digging into all of that, but I'll leave it there because there was so much really, really good stuff in there. One thing we need to touch on before we go, we talked about the Lifted Ventures conference. Talk to us briefly about the Athena event.
Yeah, this is a really exciting one for female founders. So it's a festival of inclusion, investment, and innovation. It's taking place on the 15th of October at Nexus in Leeds. It's called the Athena Festival. The brand was developed on the Athena goddess, who was known for being courageous, who was wise, and who was extremely resourceful. The day is a venture-built day. So essentially it's keynotes, panels, workshops. We've got some amazing speakers lined up. And we've also been running throughout the day as well, pitching workshops for founders with a prize at the end for the best pitch. That's going to be well attended by investors as well. We've got over 188 people signed up for this event already, with a month and a half to go. So really, really looking forward to it. This is the first female founder conference outside of London to be happening, and it's happening here in Leeds.
Brilliant. I will put a link to that in the show notes as well. I haven't signed up yet, but I will probably be there as well. So you can come and say hello to me. Tell me how much you love the podcast. Before we go, Jordan, every guest gets the opportunity to give another company a shout out to. So Jordan, who are you going to give a shout out to?
This was a really hard one, Phil, because we've worked with so many amazing female founders in the Leeds community and still are working with some amazing female founders in the community. But the company specifically to give a big shout out has to be one of our partners, Gordon Solicitors. They've been working hand in hand with us, supporting female founders on their road to investment. They've been working hand in hand to help them get ready from a due diligence perspective as well. And it's been fundamentally changing for for those founders to have had the support from Gordon's through that process. So my shout out is to Amy and Steph at Gordon's.
Okay, there'll be a link to Gordon's in the show notes, and I'll drop it. Well, you can drop Amy and Steph an email and tell them to listen to this week's podcast. So Jordan, it's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for all the hard work you do supporting female founders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Phil. Really enjoyed our chat.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you found it interesting, inspiring, and of use. To make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes, please subscribe to the show. Go on, do it now. Do it now before you go off and do something else. Thank you. Much appreciated. Oh, and don't forget our fair deal. See you next week.